Hey, good to see you.
Yes, good to see you too.
Whenever you're ready, Miss Winde, we're on live, man.
I'm ready.
Go right ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to uh, Nathaniel Gadsden's Writer's Workshop. Happy Friday. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am super excited tonight because we've got a couple people that are joining us that will be gracing the Writer's Workshop stage, if you will. We've got Neil Owens, Brother Neil Owens. Welcome, Neil. And we had Mr. Yawil on, but I think he's walking or something. And so we'll have Yawil on as well. And I'm sure we'll have a couple of other people joining us. I am Washington Nnochirionye. So definitely not Reverend Dr. Nathaniel Gadsden, but always glad and always appreciative to be able to fill in his shoes. And I believe that we will have some youth coming as well. And we've got a couple of announcements and things like that. So I believe tonight will be jam-packed, action-packed, and all of that. I am really excited because Nate, Dr. Gadsden, Reverend Gadsden was talking to me a little bit earlier when he called to let me know that you would be coming on. And he's really excited about you coming on. Of course, I hated that he was going to miss having you, which always means that you'll have to come back again. So we are glad that you are here with us this evening, though. And so you are going to be sharing some poetry with us, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to it. And so let's say hello to everyone, and then we can get right into it. Neil, how are you?
Great, I'm doing well, Wendy. Good to see you. Good to see the young
you.
brother, Yawil. Looking forward to listening to his poetry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, when you come highly recommended by Nate Gadsden, then you've got to be something else. So I think that we are in for, a treat. So we will certainly be looking forward to that. So we'll follow Nate's. We'll keep up with his platform and with his agenda the way he usually does it. We'll have some poetry. We'll hear a story maybe. We will hear from Yawil, and I believe we'll have a couple of videos. We do have the youth from True that may be joining us at some point as well. So we will also be looking forward to the youth and possibly hearing from them as well. So before we start, crazy thing, and I know that you guys already know this, but I just want to tell the world. So I was having technical difficulties getting on. And so I said, well, I just have to join by my phone. And Minister Chris said that he uses his wife's shoe. So I just happen to have one of my mother's shoes here. And that is the way I'm holding up the phone. Don't you guys try it because we're going to patent it first. But just thought that was interesting that it's a shoe. We make it happen any way we can. Neil, will you be sharing with us tonight?
Yes, I will share. Yeah, I'll share.
Okay. I appreciate that. Well, we'll wait for Yawil to come back on screen. And once we get back on screen, he can introduce us and tell us a little bit about himself so that we can hear more about this young man and the things that he's doing and that he's got going on. I also will be sharing, and hopefully we'll have a couple of other people to come on. So, Mr. Yawil, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, this is my first official time performing poetry in front of non-students, so this is exciting for me. I am a senior at the Harrisburg Sci-Tech campus. I'm attending Elizabethtown next year for college in public relations. And I love playing basketball, so much so that's why I've been running around.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So you perform, you say it's your first time performing in front of non-students. So you perform typically at school?
Yes, ma'am. Mostly at every assembly we open up with like a read aloud, and then we have a few student performances. And I'm always asked to write something about a different topic, whether it ranges from Black discrimination, mental health, men's mental health, women, and just all types of things that they just need.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Well, I'll have you to know that in a sense, you're still performing and speaking in front of students. We just happen to be in a different type of school. We
Mhm.
are still students, always learning. Always, there's a saying, it says iron sharpens iron, which means we're always students and we're always learning. So, and I don't think that you are ever too old to learn or ever too young to teach. And
Mhm.
so I definitely think that you're still speaking in front of students. You are in for a treat if you've never heard Neil Owens before. He is an excellent writer, and his stories will have you thinking, sitting up in the middle of the night trying to remember what happened and to figure out what happened. So you are certainly in for a treat. Basketball, that's your thing. So do you play daily?
Yes, ma'am. Anytime I got time to play it, I'm up there playing it.
Okay. Okay. So if you were given a gift, which do you think would be the bigger gift? Do you think the basketball was your gift or the writing poetry? Which one do you think is your bigger gift that you received?
I would say my biggest gift would be the poetry. And I only say that because poetry always came to me more naturally than basketball. And it's something both I started rather late in life, but poetry's always just came off as I'm not sitting down for days thinking about it. It's always just I'm walking around, I'm listening to music. It's just I'm in the random moment. I got a poem, I write this down. And then I'm on my
Oh,
phone, computer, get a piece of paper, writing something down, just expressing how I feel. And I just leave it like that.
wow. That is awesome. And then that means it's a natural. And it doesn't mean that you're not natural at basketball, but I think that when it comes to you that way, or anything like that comes to you that way, I think that is a gift and it's a sign. Neil, how about you? Do your stories and did writing come to you naturally? Um, how does it come to you?
Yes, it comes naturally. Yeah, I would say it comes naturally, very, very naturally. Just pops up in my head, and I think of a story. It just comes to me, and I start thinking of a beginning and an ending, and then I just start working on it from there.
I think the same here. I've always had an active, probably my mother would say an overactive imagination. And so things just pop
Yeah.
in my head and I don't know where it comes from. So, and sometimes it shocks me too, because I'm like, ooh, where'd that come from? So, Mr. Yawil, you are in likewise company. We all kind of have that. And I think that's just something that happens with writers. So let's get started. Would you like to start us off? You are our guest. Would you like to start us off with the poem?
I, no. Yeah, I'd love to start.
Okay. Well, whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Okay. I thought about killing you. Not physically, I think. I've just been wanting to detach myself from you, and I've been thinking about killing myself, which is a part of you. I thought about killing you. Not emotionally, I think. I've just been wanting to disappear and not hear from you and not relive our memories every night in my dream. I thought about killing you. Not spiritually, I think. I've just been thinking about repenting for our sins, not listening to the songs we like, not laughing at things we laughed at together. I thought about killing us. Our idea, our bond, our hope. I thought about killing us, and I did.
Wow. That's That's deep. Wow. Neil?
I feel, yeah, it is deep. I feel like there's much more to come from that poem. I don't think it's done yet,
Okay.
but
I'm
it's very insightful, and it connects in a lot of different ways, and that's important because where you delivering, where you coming from in that message is really deep, and that's a real good, powerful piece for someone to really look inside,
Yeah.
thinking about killing it. But I feel like
Wow.
there's so much more left in that poem that hasn't been delivered yet, that you haven't put together yet. I don't think that poem is finished.
Wow. That's deep. So when did you write that? How, is it a new poem or is it an older piece?
I wrote this about 3-4 days ago, and so I forgot to mention this, but I'm also a father to a beautiful 8-month-old boy. And
Congratulations.
thank you. He had kept me up to he kept waking up throughout the night, teething, crying. And I was just up thinking, just relaxing with him. And it just came to me and just wrote down up in the moment.
That's amazing. I think the beauty of poetry, is you might tell a story and it may mean one thing to you, but to someone else, they get something else. And if it touches that person, then even if they don't, I think anyway, even if they don't understand or they don't get out of it what I got out of it. And there were so many things that even as you were saying, it came to mind. And I had to blink. I had to blink back and think about, well, it could be this, it could be that, and of all the things that, we think about, and just the fact that you went through the emotionally, the physically, the spiritually, that's amazing. Do you think it's something, what do you think about what Neil said? Do you think it's something you would add to, or do you like it just right there?
I like it where it's at, but I'd love to sit down with him on some one-on-one time and work together to whip something up.
Excellent. I think it's beautiful, and I'd be amazed to hear more and hear where it goes. So you're going to, you said Elizabethtown?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're going to Elizabethtown for public relations.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to do with that? What's the next step for you?
Well, my next step from there would be going into real estate and going into selling houses.
Okay, wow. And of your poetry, do you ever plan to publish, or what would you plan to do with your writing?
I more or less do it as a hobby, but if I could take it to the level where it's published and it's something that people all around could relate to, I'd love to do it. Because as I just feel like if I have the opportunity to take something to a level, I have to take it there, because it's not something that's just handed out to everybody.
That is definitely true. That is definitely true. They say to whom much is given, much is required. And when you get the gift to be able to share like that, you're right. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. So, and just sometimes it's a burden. It just depends. Would you like to share another?
Sure.
And then Neil will go to you next.
Sorry, I got to go through the hidden files. All right. This one is No Stars Are Seen. No stars are seen. All the media portrays is a group of people with a hectic history. No stars are seen. Just another gang-banging, cop-hating, white race shaming. No stars are seen. We can't walk past a white neighborhood without hearing cars getting locked as we walk past. No stars are seen. White sounding names have a 50% higher chance of getting higher than names associated with African American history. No stars are seen. We're in an era of our country where Black culture is loved more than Black people. No stars are seen.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I fixed it. Wonderful. That is amazing. I'm impressed. We'll be looking for your book. Just stick around, keep coming back. Uh, keep coming back every Friday and stick around. Before you know it, you'll have a book and some of the things that are going on in the word shop. It'll rub off on you. It'll just it'll rub off on you. Neil, did you have? Yes, I'm sorry. Say it again.
I said, yeah, I'd love to come back as long as y'all keep having me.
Oh, absolutely. Every time you're now a part of the Writers Workshop, so
Yeah.
you
I mean,
are a
please
member.
do. Yeah, please do come often. And
Absolutely.
share your knowledge and your insight. And at I'm surprised for these dogs is barking, but I would say don't think you can't share your work with the world, that you actually need someone to help you do it, because the way things are now, you can do it yourself. And you can post it, you can put your collection together and you can post it on Amazon and you can go from there. The biggest challenge, of course, anything is getting it marketed, getting people to have to read it and see it and so on. That's the big and hard part. But once it's, but if you go with that energy, man, and put it forth and just go for it, things will work out.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nothing
I'm
can stop
excited.
you but you.
I agree. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's always nice to hear a young person that's writing, but for me, for whatever reason, to hear a young man share poetry. And I know that it's not mainstream. It's not mainstream. I have a son who is he's 18 and he's a poet as well. And when he's away at school right now, but when he's home, or at least, whenever he has a chance, whenever he graces us with his presence, he will come on and share. But, he started right here on the workshop and he attends the retreats that we have and the different things like that. So, and he's gotten very good at it. So keep coming back anytime you're free and available. By all means, please keep coming back. We'd love to have you. But we hope to hear you have some more to share with us in a little bit, right?
I just got to go through my little gap.
Okay. Mr. Neal, you want to go up next?
Yeah, I'll do a poem
Okay.
that I wrote. It's called A Glimpse of Light. The many friends around me don't lessen my loneliness. A brain hosting sleepless nights amidst a troubled soul pawns me. My efforts to escape this reality are blocked by the walls of misery. But in the bowels of my mind, there is a glimpse of light that brings the hope of tomorrow. It overcomes self-doubt and removes the weariness in my brain. It adds the growth of knowledge that comes from thinking. This glimpse of light has inspired my soul and replaced the sleepless nights. I have overcome the worry and fear because faith has become the vanguard. In that glimpse of light, I found reality standing, not only as yesterday and today, but tomorrow too. I now live my life for what will be, remembering what has been and knowing what is.
Like it. I like it. You don't share poetry with us too often.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't write poetry too much. I'm basically a novelist. So, but that was a piece that again came to me. And so I decided to put it together and put it into a poem.
Wow. That's your poetry is as amazing as your writing is. Yeah, Will, you'll have to catch him with some of his stories. That I'm telling you, you'll be like, what happened? Where did this come from? So, and then there are times, and I've told you this, there are times I'm like, man, that's just a sick mind, but I love it. It's just like, where did that come from? I didn't see that coming, but his writing is amazing. So absolutely. I like it though. I like it. I So I know that you're a novelist. Have you ever, or would you consider, Neil, would you consider a book of poetry? Would you ever be a person that would publish a book of poetry?
No, I doubt it. I doubt that very seriously.
Okay.
I mean, I might can put some poetry, but I don't really consider myself a poet.
Okay.
So it's not something that I would put together. No. I see myself putting together a book of sermons one day, maybe.
Okay. Okay. That's all right. That's all right. So you can do both. You can a novelist, because your novels are fiction,
Right.
and then sermons, of course, would be nonfiction.
Mhm.
Correct. Hopefully correct.
Yeah.
You gotta ask. You gotta ask when people have imaginations. Okay.
Right. Yeah, no, I would, if it's dealing with sermons, it would definitely be nonfiction all the way.
Okay. Let the church say amen. Okay. So I will share, and then maybe we can go to a video. I want to make sure that we stay on the right time schedule. This one is called Early Eulogy, and I've shared it before, but just something that's been on my mind, and kind of like both of you have said, I have a poem, and when something comes to me, I've got to write it. You know, I've got to write it. And so I have a poem that's been kind of brewing, and I like to write. I write about things that are important to me, because that's where my passion is. And just lately, I've been thinking about a poem for my brothers, for Black men, for my father and my brothers and my son. And so that'll be coming, because obviously it will not let me go. So this one is called Early Eulogy, and I wrote it after Deontay Wright was killed. He was the one in Minneapolis where the police officer said she thought she pulled out her taser, but instead she pulled out the gun. So I was really touched by that. Angry is the word I really want to say. I want to say a different word, but I won't say that. So I wrote this after that, and it's called Early Eulogy. His eulogy was snuffed out before he could experience life. Dreams cemented by a concrete notion that tomorrow is a promise afforded to all. Arrested by fear, his crime, a repeat offender of a melanated existence. Recidivism beyond his grasp. He is a Black man, forced to exist, rather endure, in a world created for him, built by him while simultaneously operating against him. Stainless steel projectiles tattoo pigmented fear in the eyes of hope deferred, breathless bodies with less breath, embodied by senseless acts of hatred, mutated humanity, and menacing ignorance. Zebra-striped kings of the jungle with gazelle tendencies, his instinctive fight or flight reaction are inept when the outcome is death, demise, or departure. His superhuman presence and strength in the face of inhuman circumstances guarantee a guilty verdict when his plea is to breathe, to run, to play, to live. So his epitaph is prescribed on cardboard signs with cliches of the matter of Black life, urban shrines laced with infantile memorabilia for lives that don't ripen to a natural expectancy. Murals of martyrs who never agreed to be drafted in this war. Our men are juxtaposed between wild game, endangered species, and spoil not fit for consumption. And yet, we eulogize their honor, speak of how aggressively he loves. We assert our love for him, though his nemesis could never fathom the favor of his reign. They seek retribution of his brilliance and splendor. They've been trying to kill him since Golgotha, their vengeance further fueled by his relentless spirit. Though bruised and vexed, it never dies. Today, like yesterday, like Medgar Evers in 1963 and Emmett Till in 1955, our men are assassinated in character, their futures lynched, and bodies hung and choked by the threefold cords of justice, liberty, and equality. So we tell cryptograph stories of death-defying victories, of surviving from day to day. He walks and talks in a vernacular created just for him. Our right to revere an imperfect atom with his flaws and defects is prematurely stripped by hands too weak to carry him. Cowardly minds too shallow to honor and esteem excellence in their presence, a privilege beyond their command, too high for their conception, and a calling not designed for the common. With nods of acceptance and encouragement, your fears are voracious. Death at their hands is neither denial nor delay of your spirit. Heavy are our hearts for this difficult journey imposed upon you. May your final eulogy tell a story of the abundance of life and the longevity of your days.
Okay, so now, you're really, you're bringing it home, and you're putting that message out there, and it's powerful.
Thank you.
And those were assassinations of character, and that's what they do. Assassination of character. One of the things that bothered me to this day, and enough people don't talk about it, but Abernathy, when he wrote that book and assassinated the character of Dr. Martin Luther King, the man who he said he loved so much, that is not something that a friend would do. That is something that someone who's filled with jealousy would do. Someone who's filled with envy and jealousy. To do that, that really bothered me, man. That really bothered me. And it made me look on him, and I had to ask myself, now, was he involved in what happened? Was he that one who made sure that King stepped out there on that balcony at that time? Did he sell him out? Because somebody sold him out.
Yeah, there was a lot of speculation, and I talked about it on the show before, but also the show that I do, my show that I do on Mondays. I went on a civil rights tour this past summer, and we saw, we didn't get there to the Lorraine Hotel to see, but what I wanted to say is, when you see things up front, when you actually see and you go to the place, one, I believe that there's a spirit that sort of lingers, that gives you a different sense. But two, you understand the depth of things, how far away, what must have really happened. Like, for example, we went to Birmingham, where 16th Street Baptist Church, where the 4 girls were killed when they bombed the church. And I share this story all the time because it really touched me. So you always see the picture of that, and you see the big hole in the side of the building, and you see the men standing there sort of looking inside the hole, because the picture is taken from inside the church. And you see the building across the street where the bomb was so strong that it blew the windows out across the street. So you see this in the picture, but when you go to the church, here's what you find out, that the buildings where the glass was blown out across the street, it's a 4-lane street. It's a very wide street. Then the hole that was blown into the side of the building, the men that were looking inside of the building, they weren't crouched down, they were standing up straight. They were tall men. And even now, till this day, and that was in 1953, I believe it was, 53 or 63, 53, I believe. But even till this day, the bricks that they were able to save because they just filled in the hole, those bricks are still charred from the fire. And so that means rain, wind, storms and things like that. The bricks still never went back. And so I said that to say, I think if we were able to go to that hotel, we would be able to tell so much more of the story. But anybody that was there can tell whatever story, and only the people that were there know what really happened and how it happened. But I believe if everyone could go there and see, you could get so much more of the story, because I agree with you. There's more to it. There's more to it. And, sometimes it's one of those things, it's between them and God, and we may never know. We may never know. So, but hopefully our young people will learn that something did happen, and they will apply their minds to figure out the whole story, and don't just get that paragraph that they served them at school. So we'll see. I want us to keep up with our time. Minister Chris, do you have a video lined up for us?
So this is living. Every single day is like a blessing we've been given. I keep my scars hidden behind the bars of this prison. I keep my flaws tucked right behind my front, sucking up this blunt. I don't give a, hey, what's up? How you been? Cool, man, I'm doing me. Chiller than the Arctic, but burning like a 3rd degree. I'm open like a surgery. I'm searching for a crutch. It's as natural as putting antiseptic on a cut. Heal me. I fiend for my fix. There's a void on the inside. I fill it up with fluff to avoid where my sins lie. I'm talking puppy dogs and ice cream. Caffeine, nicotine, puffing on a pipe dream. Daddy needs a new pair of anything. Maybe you relate. Lay your head upon my pillow, wake up with a clean slate. I thought that if I found out who I was, away from anything I'd ever tried to use to catch a buzz, I would build a better me. So I did, delving into all the hurt I'd hid since a kid. Anytime I felt the urge, I would hold on. I want to reach the other side. My goal's to be headstrong when right feels dead wrong, when night feels too long, when life feels too long, when hindsight is blinding and reminding us to hold on. You're not alone. We've all been there together. We're facing the storm because bad weather ain't forever. We're breaking the norm to see if maybe there is more, but we'll never know until we're on the other side of that door. I don't want to use you for anything, abuse you for anything, or lose you to anything. Love is not obsession. There are no strings attached, so I can't love you if I'm like, yeah, but there's a catch. I want freedom from desire because this moment is real. They speak about courage, but they don't own how they feel. I want to scream truth, just to hear it echo back. I don't need your validation. This is truly where I'm at. See, this poem is for the lost and the found, who've been tossed to the ground, who've been crossed by their friends. Get up, stand your ground again. Make your heart the strongest muscle that you've got, then let it guide you in the dark till you reach the other side.
I hear you. Wow. Yeah. I think well, everybody can relate to that. You on mute, Wendy.
I'm
That-
just talking. Yeah, Will, any thoughts on that?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, just I love how like the flow of it. It was just word after word. Each break, it gave you like time to process it. Be like, oh, that hit. I remember that moment in my life. I can relate to this in however many ways. And then you just keep getting spoon fed more and more. Like there was a few times where I just had to stop and think to myself. I said, ooh, that's it, right? That's the one. That line's gonna stick with me.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I had the same reaction. And I at first, when it first started, to me, it seemed like there was a switch, but it flowed. And he said, this is for the lost and the found. And it was really, I think it was really good. And it is something that, even though it was called an addiction poem, poem for hope, I think everybody, whether you deal in addictions or not, everyone can get hope from that. So that was really good. That was really good. Thank you, Minister Chris. Minister Chris always comes up with good pieces. He always has really good pieces. So, well, we will keep it flowing. We will keep it flowing. And usually what we do is just a round robin. And so we can go back around. Mr. Yawil seems to be enjoying that ice cream, though. Neil, did he offer you any?
It's too good.
Sorry, it's Ben and Jerry's. It's expensive and good. Y'all wasn't gonna get none. I'm sorry.
Well, he's honest. We'll accept that. We will accept that. Okay. We'll remember that. Don't worry.
All right, okay. You can't hold it against me now.
Neil will write a story about you, and I'll write a poem about you, about the ice cream we never got. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go back around. Mr. Yawil, are you ready to share? Are you able to share?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's hear from Yawil again.
All right. There we go. That's love. Our love's kind of like we touch a lot, but I don't know. We talk of deep things, we sing deep songs, we hold each other tight, and it seems that you never get off my mind, even in the middle of the night. There's good days, there's bad days, there's even the worst days possible. But it's our love. And our love is amazing. Because my love for you makes me spend $1.49 to get you the extra large meal and not just the large. My love is showing you that I know what nails you get. You get the long French acrylic nail, orange tip.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a poem, please. You get that launch coffin. You know, my love for you makes me remember that you what? Are you doing the poem? Yeah. Wait. No. Thank you, though. Give me a second. My love for you makes me think about all the things I could have done better, but didn't. My love for you makes me go out, get that plushy animal that's about $45. That's my love. But your love is a little different. Your love is running around crazy, hitting, biting, scratching my bag, doing what you do. Your love is singing loud, being a carefree soul. I love our love. And I don't ever want to stop loving you.
Again, there is.
Hey, you're on mute, man.
There is. I mean, your message is strong and directed well, but there is still so much more to it that you haven't put there. And as you go over time and review it, you'll find yourself adding more to it because that story isn't finished. That story isn't finished, man. There's something. I mean, it could be a point, but there's so much there that you I mean, you can leave it there and it still would be boom. It can say, okay, it's effective, but there's so much more that you can bring to it,
Right.
you know, to take it to that ultimate level, man.
So Neil, you're saying dig deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. Let it go. You're not finished. You're not finished.
Okay, so yeah, Will, let me ask. Well, first, let me say this. I thought, and I think it's great. I think it's great. And again, I see, and for me, sometimes I like a poem that makes me wonder because I'm a curious person. And it's interesting that Neil would say that because Neil writes cliffhangers all the time. And so that's really interesting, Neil, that you would say that it's not finished. So let me ask you this, because a lot of people say that young people don't know about love. Have you heard that?
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you think about that?
I feel that given the circumstances, love with my generation especially is experienced at such a young age where it differs from like older people where it was like, oh, you don't date till you're high school, till kids now asking parents to take them on dates, going out with each other and just expressing love differently, especially now with men also being able to express their love more freely and more than just I'm a provider or I'm gonna just give you money and let you rock out with what you want to do. So in the sense of men being able to express their love more in different ways compared to the traditional, oh, I'm gonna provide, give you money, and that's gonna be our happy love. That's my love towards you. And now is that men are able to get love in different ways, whether it's them just being hugged, being complimented, and just receiving gifts. So young people nowadays do know love, but in different ways that the older generations does. And that's something where it turns back to you're never too young to be a teacher or you're never too old to be a student.
I like that, and I think that what you just said, I would challenge you that I would love to hear as a poem of how love is. You know what I'm saying? Of exactly what you just said, that men love differently now, and being able to, and you're not just a provider, and everything you said. So after this, if you accept the challenge, after this, go back and replay. It'll be on Facebook, so you can go back to The Voice or any one of our pages, and it will be on there. And what you just said was deep, and coming from a young person, I do believe that. I believe that when you love, and you know what love is. It might be different, but love is different for each person. Even older people. Some older people don't know how to love. So I do think that it happens, but I think that that's the poem there. What you said. That was deep. That was deep enough to swim in. I'm gonna have to write some of that down myself in case you don't take the challenge. I had to write that down because that was good. That was deep.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. That was deep. So what's next? I know you're off to school, but as far as writing, what's next? What are you working on? anything, or are you just trying to? So you're graduating? You have graduation coming up?
Yes, ma'am. In less than 2 weeks, about 3 weeks.
Wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations! That's exciting.
Thank you.
That's exciting. I just realized the date, and I'm like, whoa! Wait a minute. School is done. So are you working on anything? Any projects? Are you writing anything, or?
Yes, actually, I'm working on a poem for my senior showcase that's going to be happening this coming Friday during school hours. And I was thinking about doing something about progression. And my base for it so far is this quote my teacher told me the other day. It went like, before every action comes self-reflection. And right now I'm taking that with $1 in a dream.
Okay. I like that. Well, perhaps you'll come back and share it with us once you've finished it and once you've shared it with your class. I'm sure from what I've heard already, I'm sure it's going to be really good. It's going to be powerful.
Thank you.
Mr. Neil Owens, what are you working on anything? What do you have coming up anytime soon?
Well, I'm working on my next book. I have the storytellers, the collection of short stories that's done, but I haven't published it yet. I'm not sure when I'm going to publish that. It'll be sometime this year, maybe, or early next year. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do that one yet. But
Is that the one that you were sharing with us? You've been teasing us with all this time?
yes, yeah, 17 seconds is a part of
Yes.
that.
Okay.
So that's done, but I'm working on another novel now called Rise of the Fourth Reich, and that's where I'm at now. I'm working on that.
Rise of the Fourth Reich.
Yeah.
So how much time do you spend writing? Is it daily? Is it hours at a time?
It depends. Sometimes it's daily. Depends on the mood and the flow and the thoughts. I don't force it. It's like they have writer's block.
Right.
I don't force anything. I just go with the flow. And when I'm in it, I go, and I got to go through it 1,000 times before I'm ready to, finalize it.
Right. Okay. Okay. I have not been writing as much as I should be, as much as I need to be. I want to finish my novel, The Tempest is Raging. I probably have about five more chapters, and then it will be done and ready for editing. And then I've in between writing that, and like I said, I don't spend enough time. In between that, I get poems more than I do, finishing the novel. And so I've been writing poems. So I will probably, while the novel is being edited and being prepped for publishing, I will probably publish another book of poetry, because I think I have enough to do a second book. So looking forward to that. And I guess I feel like it's summertime. Go get your camera. Sorry. I feel like it's summertime. And so I feel like I should have a vacation like everybody else. So I'm like, oh, well, it's summertime. I'm going to write a little bit more, go out on the patio and do things like that. I apologize for the dog. She's a poet as well. She's just trying to voice her latest piece. That's all. So, okay. I guess it is my turn, and then we will. Well, Neil, did you go and do yours? I think you didn't do yours.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Winde.
Sure. So, and funny that the poem that Chris pulled up, the man mentioned Lost and Found, but that was the next poem that I had. So this is called Lost and Found. I waited for you to find me. Like a peacock, I displayed my array of beauty before you. I paraded my virtuosity, praying you would recognize the possibility or simply acknowledge that I am a rare sight to see. But you didn't see me. And that's understandable because I couldn't see myself. I was so determined to be your corrective lens that I lost myself in the hopes that I'd fit in and be what you were looking for. The truth is, I've been lost for a long time. I got so wrapped up in wanting you to find me that I lost myself in the vision I was sure would define me. I thought I needed to recreate an oasis so that you could relate to the benefaction and reward that stood before you. While I attempted to redesign me, I found that your hangups and limitations and a necessitated external validation would only confine me, and somehow I lost sight of who I am. I assumed you'd see that I am a princess because my father decreed it, and a queen because life experiences and time have ordained me. Please, don't keep asking for your fair share of peace and happiness when the answer stood before you and was plain to see, and I lost me. My reign doesn't exist to intimidate, debilitate, emasculate, or even infiltrate. I find joy in supporting my king and building an empire together. I thought that once you saw my natural crown, you'd see my natural beauty, my inherent charm, my built-in intellect, and no, that only God can create this masterpiece. And I lost me like a child wandering away from her mother's grip. I felt incomplete and ineffectual in my own interpersonal relationship. I lost me in the rhetorical montage I was willing to become. I lost my belief in fairy tales, waiting for a happily ever after when my once upon a time self-divided and has been more frequent than I care to recount, because I've realized that each of my defects and imperfections somehow allowed you an ethical discount, and it began to diminish my self-esteem in astronomical amount and in ways that I can't even count, and finding me right now is paramount. I looked into your windows, wondering if in vulnerability I had lost myself in you, but I wasn't in the trophy case on a pedestal in your pocket or riding shotgun. I'm not your ride or die, because I'll choose life every time. And to think, like Hansel and Gretel, I left morsels of myself, knowing that if you could, oh, taste and see my goodness, but I couldn't find me through your windows because you couldn't see me for who I am. I lost me, and this is your loss. I get that I am damaged goods, and truthfully, I'm damaged good, and damn, I'm good, because even when I was lost, I was still winning. In losing me, I found resilience and perseverance. I found strength and joy in just being me. I lost me and found myself, not in a lost and found box or sitting idle on a shelf. There were no posters to highlight my absence. I found what you should be looking for. I found a deeper love for myself. I found me.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I think a lot of people can, especially women, can connect with that. And you know, as a man, I can connect with women that I've known in my life who fit that same mold. And yeah, and you know, and a lot of women do that, or have done that, you know, and have left themselves trying to be something for someone else and not being themselves. But yeah, getting back to them and who, yeah, that's a coming of age piece. It really
So
is.
I still get, even at this age, I still get to come of age.
Coming of age, yeah. Coming of age.
Okay.
You know, it's something like as being a spiritual man, they talk about, when you talk about virgin, you know, I see menstruation as the restart, and you become a virgin all over again. You know, that's what I see that process as.
I see what you're saying. It's a start. It's a cleansing and a fresh start.
That's right. It's a cleansing. It is.
Yes.
That's what it is. A cleansing.
Yes.
You know, and that's how deep it goes, and that's how deep the Bible goes, and how deep Jesus goes, and all those things.
Absolutely.
It goes deep, man. I think a lot of people don't realize how deep Jesus actually was and is, as it says. I don't think they really realize how deep that brother is.
Yeah. 1 second, Mr. Yawil, as you will see, we talk about pretty much anything and everything. we try to keep it balanced, try to keep it at least PG-13, but we talk about pretty much everything. Yeah, it's, you know, and I think that's the beauty of what we do. And I know, and not to get away from, first off, let me apologize for the dog, because in a minute, it's not good for her. She usually doesn't join this show, but she's doing too much because the kids are outside playing. But anyway, and it's not my dog, this is my son's dog. I'm babysitting while he's in school. So yeah, Will, if you have any pets or anything, don't be unfair and leave them for somebody else to take care of, because I don't want this right now. But anyway, we have, and we are talking about restarting the Writers' Workshops retreats. And it was at Elizabethtown College at the Bowers Writing House there on the campus. And we would go there the first, I think we were meeting the first Saturday of every other month. And now what we're trying to do is to figure out how to do it and have Neil, who's out of state, and we have a couple of other people that join us from other states, to have them to come and join us remotely or virtually. But what we would do is we would come together, we would have sort of we always eat, have breakfast, and then we'd have sort of a workshop and go through a practice or a process or talk about certain things, and then we would get a prompt. And then after you get a writing prompt, we all spread out in the house, just wherever. There are little rooms, little cubbies, little places, and you write for about 45 minutes, and then you come together and we would have lunch, and then we would share and spend the rest of the time either critiquing or reviewing or going over whatever was shared. And so this is an example of, every week the writers WordShop, where we come on Fridays, it's a little small slice of what we do on a bigger level there at Elizabethtown. And we are talking about and working on getting that started again. But the beauty of it, and the beauty of a writer's workshop or a community like this, because we are a community, is that we're not censored. We're not censored, but we are mindful of our platform, and we're mindful of the people that we're with. But you can, you can share, and we do. Wouldn't you agree, Neil? We share pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I don't really think I have anything. I do have a piece, and it came about at the writer's workshop. We were encouraged to write a poem with using one expletive, using an expletive, using a cuss word. And so because I am who I am, I'm a little bit of an extremist. I used all the words I knew. So I can't share that. I can't share that on here, but we certainly shared it at the retreat. And I think Nate must have prayed for me a little bit longer than usual after because I used all my words. Think about it. If someone gives you that as a prompt, they're giving you permission. And so when do you ever get permission to write all of your words,
Right.
So, and we also did a class, myself, Nate, and Ro Brady. We did a class with Harrisburg Area Community College, HAC, and it was right during COVID. And so we had an opportunity to lead the class and do spoken word, and I shared that poem. And I think once again, Nate, his eyes were big too, because he was like, she's gonna share that one. And he jokes that they haven't called us back since then, but he might not be joking, because I think they haven't called us back since then. So we'll see. I think maybe he's not joking as I think about it, or they did call us back and he didn't invite me because I shared that. But I said that to say that we have a wonderful platform and opportunity to just really share, to share, and it covers everything. And I don't think that there's too many topics that we've not covered. So let's check our time. It is 8:03. Minister Chris, I think I am a little late for the next video. And do we have 4 tonight?
Yes, ma'am. So including this one, you have 2 more.
2 more. Okay.
Black boys with blue in the moonlight, lips ashy, neck wrung, blue hands touch them like God. Pray them in the casket's call, bullets of baptism, headlines of christening, blue nails, scar, scratch, etched testaments into their ribs, blue eyes gripped with gaze. I'm sure not all Klansmen are bad. They just stood in the back of what CNN called a coup. They just dressed up their racism in bright red hats and riots. They were just trying to protect and serve. They were just trying to answer the dispatcher. They were just trying to desecrate blue. I'm sure not all Klansmen are bad. And I'm sure that blood is red. Red like danger, like sticky and promising because I've seen it spill. And even after I was told that blood was blue, even after I looked down at my blue veins, I was sure it was red. And if blood was blue, maybe that's why cops spill it, to make black bodies into something that looks like them, reflection and the first degree. And I'm sure that my cousin died of police brutality. I'm sure that he was aided to call the cops whenever he felt like he was going to have a psychotic break. I'm sure that he did. I'm sure that his heart was racing and his hands were shaking as he dialed 911. And I'm sure that police walked into his home and an EMT carried him out. And I know the life expectancy for a disabled person is 49 years. And I know the life expectancy for a black man is 75 years younger than any racial counterpart. And I know that I failed AP stats and don't know what this means from a disabled black brother, but I know he wouldn't understand how to keep his hands visible, how to find the safety between advocacy and silence. And I know that his skin feels heavy on his bones. And I know that I can't be grateful that he is alive today, that accepting that there will be a day where he won't be. And I know that black boys look blue in the moonlight, and I want to tuck them in every night at dusk and make sure they make it to dawn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
I like that it started with the trigger. You know, I not that I like those topics, but I like when a poem starts with the trigger warning. But that was, I'm just amazed at what our young people are writing. And I think it's because they experience far more than we experienced at that age.
Right.
You know, and then I think also social media, the internet and, you know, TikTok and all those things, they bring those experiences right to their frontal lobe. It just brings it right to them. Whereas we didn't have that. You know, we didn't have we lived recklessly. We lived recklessly, but it was not reckless. You know, it was not the reckless that you all did. Our reckless was, our reckless was deciding that we were not going to beat the street lights home. That was reckless in my house. That was almost a death wish. So. What are you thinking about it? What are your thoughts, Neil?
Yeah, but you mentioned the street lights. That's right. You had to be in. The street lights came on. It was time to get in the house.
No matter what was going on.
Time to get in. That's it. That was a signal, boy. The street lights came on. It was time. Let's go. And you know, yeah. I mean, in that life, when you think about when you're you, I mean, I remember, but because things were so difficult for our parents and life was so hard as a young kid, you had parents had to leave you home alone. I had to walk, I remember walking to school. I'm 5 years old. I walked to school and, then kindergarten was only half a day. So you out, you got to, after 12:15, you walking back home and you home. You home until moms get home and nobody's there. Everybody's gone working. So you there home alone. I mean, just the danger that it could have occurred between that time of going to school and coming home. I mean, the type of danger that could happen because of all of the evil people walking around the streets out here. Somebody can swoop up a little kid, I can just praise God that I was able to get home and go on. But you never really think about that as a kid.
No. And you shouldn't have to.
Right.
You shouldn't have to. Like, a young person should not have to worry about, am I going to make it home or is someone going to snatch me up? That's the parent's job. That's the adult's job. But unfortunately, there's some adults who are predators and who prey on the young people. So now every time we have to teach our child to do something, we take a little bit of their innocence away, where they shouldn't have to think about what happens if, someone touches you, in the wrong place. We shouldn't have to teach our children that. because I think it takes away some of their innocence. I think the probably the only thing that we got was what was it, McGraw, the dog that took a bite out of crime, and we all got those stickers with the phone number to call if something happened. It was a stuffed animal. Yeah, well, do you know anything about McGraw?
Yeah.
It was a stuffed dog. It was like, you know how mascots, like the team mascot is like the big animal, the furry, thing. So it was a dog, and it was
Mhm.
McGraw, and McGraw took a bite out of crime. And so he was a crime stopper. So they taught us to be a crime stopper. If you saw a crime, then they had these stickers that said 911. And then they decided someone somewhere, and growing up, when we grew up, we went, there weren't any other Black families in the schools that we went to. So the things that worked at school for the other kids didn't really work for us. So they also told us about child abuse and said, if your parents hit you, you should dial this number. And they gave you this little sticker to put on the phone. So you stick the sticker on the phone, which then was a rotary phone. So it had a big space. Well, you're probably way out of this conversation by now, but
Not where I know.
okay.
But y'all gotta think about it. McGraw, the crime stopping dog.
Yeah.
That name's fire. Like, it just rolls off the tongue. Like, McGraw, the crime stopping dog.
We clearly, that then fire wasn't what it was, but when I guess it made sense because he was a dog and he took a bite out of crime. But when they told us about abuse, child abuse, and they said, if your parents hit you, dial this number. And I remember my parents were like, I was like, I have to stick it on the phone so that if you hit me, I could dial this number. And my dad was like, go ahead, stick it on the phone. And then I was scared. I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't stick it on the phone then. So yeah, it didn't work, but that was probably the deepest thing. Really quick, I want to say hello to Dan Snowden, Dr. Dan Snowden. Thank you for joining us. I see that his audio is still connecting. Dan, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Certainly, right here.
We're
Hi,
glad
Mr.
to
Dan.
have you.
Hello there.
Yeah. Hello, Dan. Neil, and
Hello,
we got a
Ed.
new guest, Yawil.
Yes, we have Yawil. Yawil is a senior graduating in 2 weeks. And did you say SciTech?
Yes, ma'am. Harrisburg SciTech campus.
Harrisburg SciTech campus. He's graduating in 2 weeks, and he will be going on to Elizabethtown College at taking public relations.
There we go.
Public relations, yes. Excellent writer. He has shared a couple of pieces with us, and we'll have him share another in a moment. Dan, are you going to share something with us?
Yes.
Okay. How have you been doing?
Oh, so far so good, I guess.
Okay. Are you working on anything? Any projects any projects or poems in the making?
Well, I have another one in the works now, and I actually based it on something that happened. I guess one of our individuals who he may attend from time to time. Remember the fellow who was sent to prison for a crime he didn't commit?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
So you're working on it, or are you?
I'm working on it, and it's all about criminal justice reform, actually.
Okay. Well, we certainly will be anxious and looking forward to hearing that. We certainly will. So we'll do another round robin. And Dan, are you ready to share now? Do you want to go ahead and share something now?
Okay, sure. I'll be more than happy to do that. I'm just
Okay,
bringing
and
up
after you,
my
we'll
poem.
go back to Mr. Yawil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's a signature piece called Speaking One's Mind. There's nothing wrong at all with speaking one's mind as long as one keeps one's language refined. There's nothing wrong at all with needing to speak out, whether one does so softly or incessantly shouts. All of us have our opinions, which are as varied as humanity, yet when these thoughts are uttered, it should be done with utmost sanity. So remember, when one says anything, that we meant to hinder or teach. There's nothing wrong with speaking one's mind, as long as one always minds one's speech.
Mind one speech.
All right.
That's right.
I like it. I like it.
Oh,
Dan
well,
has
thanks.
Dan has a flow with his poetry, and it's definitely definitely an art form that not many are able to get down. So great job, Dan.
Thanks. But I'll have to admit, though, that I don't know. There's a flow here, yes, but I really have to sit down and think about any poetry that I write. It doesn't just come naturally.
Well, I mean, the type and I guess the work that you put in with not only the vocabulary, you know, the words and things like that, and to get it to line up, but your style is definitely one that not many can keep. So great job.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Will, before you do yours, Minister Chris, and Angela Renee, or Angie, is going to be coming in. I believe the youth from True will be coming in. I just sent her the information.
And did you want to go with the video now, or you were just telling me that?
Yeah, I was just telling you that, and
Okay,
then
great.
I will do the video. We'll do a round robin and then do the video.
Whenever
Mr.
you're ready.
Will, are you ready?
Sorry, I started the poem and didn't realize I was still on mute.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Through thick and thin, we've been there, you could say. But through our friendship, it feel like it always went one way. I'd cover you here and there, but you were never there to cover me. My money went thin, you were nowhere to be found. I kind of felt like a parasite now that I think back and look at it. You always taking, and I'm just providing. Our friendship went on for years, and it was hard to let you go. But they said, friends you grow up with, you'll never grow old. But I think our friendship lasted too long, because even now I think about the things, what we could have done, what could have happened. And I think about the times we could have had fun, lived together, the stories we told, the fun we had. But to this day, I think about the stories we could have wrote if our egos never took the pen.
Our egos never took the pen.
Ah, very, very good, very good.
Yeah, that one's that's actually one of my oldest poems I've had since like 10th grade, I think. Yeah, and it was at the beginning of my sophomore year I wrote that one.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that one. I think that one is a finished product.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I've been waiting all night, Mr. Neal. All night I've been waiting. Finally.
Yeah, that one is a finished project. That one summed it up well. Yeah.
I would agree.
That's a closing. That closed it right there. That was definitely.
Yeah, that if our egos never took the pen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that did that. That was a check in the mail. That one is excellent. That's amazing.
Thank you.
You got it. You certainly got it.
Hey, I'm done.
Definitely see a lot of creativity here, and a lot of positive vibes ahead.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I went like three, 4 poems. Mr. Neal was like, "There's more to it. I need more." I finally got him to say it's complete. I'm done for the night.
Complete. Yeah. I mean, all the ones don't get me wrong, they all are all good. I could just feel that there is something more that poem is calling for to be delivered.
Right.
I was just feeling that there's something more in that poem. But that one was like, okay, yeah. That was
And
signed, sealed,
that's a,
delivered. That one.
yeah, that's a good thing though, because when, when someone says, says that, it really, to me, I take it like I want more. I want to hear more from you. Have you ever had someone tell you a story and you're like, please just get this story over with? Like, just hurry up,
Right.
get to the end. I don't want all the, just hurry up, hurry up. But when someone's like, well, what else? Tell me more. That means that you've got their attention, they're engaged, and they're wanting more. So I'm just really surprised that Neil Owens is the one saying it, because he is the master of cliffhangers. And so, Neil, now I know what we need to say to you. When we say that's not finished, we need to hear more.
But see, I'm a novelist, so I just take that cliffhanger to the next chapter.
Well, you do that very well. We want to hear more. I'm still waiting for the story. I'm still waiting for 17 seconds. So I just need to know. So, and he told us this story. It's been over a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been about, yeah, it has.
It's been over a year that he told us this story. And ever since then, I am still, every time he shares, I'm like, okay, all right, get ready. He's coming with the next part of the story. And I don't know if there's more to it or if it's just a cliffhanger like that, but that is my absolute favorite. And I think we have favorites of each other's, because Dan has one as well, that every time he does it, I'm like, because I've heard it several times, and then one day I got it because he uses acronyms. And so I was like, oh my goodness, I just got it. So a light bulb went off. So
Yeah, you were the environmental phobias, no doubt, right?
yes, the environmental phobias, yes. It took me a minute. I admit that it went over like a lead balloon, but I got it eventually. I got it. Okay. Neil, are you sharing anything else? You have anything for us?
Yeah, you got me to. I'll read a little something from a short story, romance, about
Okay.
about a page.
Okay.
And the short story is called "The Night I Gave Thanks to the Snow." Ambivalent thoughts were at the forefront as I stared at the unseeable sky of the unexpected blizzard. The only joy felt at that moment was that I wouldn't be among the many bustling to make it home before the roads became impassable. To escape the monotony, I went online and chatted with my cousin. Our virtual conversation was interrupted by frantic knockings on my front door. Somebody is knocking on my door. Whoever it is sounds pressed. Maybe it's the delivery you've been waiting for. Maybe. I'll be right back. The thoughts of who it might be and why it led me. Believing it was a delivery, I opened the door without asking, and to my surprise, a woman covered with snow was standing in front of me. Hi, my car is a flat and I don't have a spare. I left my phone at work. Can I use your phone? Mesmerized by the caramel face and glistening eyes, I hesitated before I said, of course you can use my phone, and invited her inside. She smiled. Thank you. With ungloved hands, she brushed the snow from her matching tan hat and mandarin collared coat and stomped 3-inch heels before entering. I inhaled the scent of her light perfume as I handed her the cordless phone. Her dainty voice said, what's your address? 612 Delafield Place. While she was doubting, I went into the kitchen and turned on local news before sitting on one of the black leather swivel high chairs that surround the white marble oblong kitchen island. My back was to her when I heard her shout, bye. Not knowing whom she was directing the word toward, my eyes quickly turned to the foyer and saw her frustratingly dialing. I turned my attention back to the television, but heard an outburst of frustration. Concerned, I rose and approached. Exasperation was covering her face as she held the phone to her ear. I smiled into her dispirited eyes and said, I can give you a ride home. Her cheeks lifted. I can't put that burden on you. It's not a burden. I was born to save a damsel in distress. Her eyes sparkled, seemingly to acknowledge the presence of a gentleman, and she kind-heartedly said, my friend has a truck and will pick me up. He said he would call back. Interpreting the friend as her boyfriend, I turned my attention toward making her comfortable until he arrived. I extended my hand and said, "My name is Markeith." She shook my hand. "Nice to meet you, Markeith. I'm Luella." I felt a mutual attraction when our hands touched, but was it my imagination? Was it wishful thinking? I'll stop there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
See what I mean?
Interesting plot line there.
Absolutely interesting plot. See what I mean, y'all will? Now we don't know what was happening between Marquis and Luella and if it was her boyfriend coming. What you should say is, you know what, I feel like we need to know more.
I'm like, man. I don't know. I just need more from it.
Yeah, that's a short story. That's my collection is the Storytellers called, and there's like 22 stories, and they are romance, dystopian, apocalyptic, horror, and one historical essay. Oh, there's some drama too, yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
know there's some drama in there.
It's a group, yeah.
Well, I think we have, I'm not sure if she's going to be able to get on. I think we have Angela Bates coming in with the youth from True. So we will see. I will share and then we'll go to a video, and hopefully by then they will have been able to get in and we can see if we can't get some writing from some of the young people. This one is called From Baby Dolls to a Cardinal with Wings. Hazel, Grandma, Ramadan, Franks. It's a short piece. I wrote it about my grandmother, who was my best friend. So we were talking about young people not experiencing things and how things are so different. When you're 15 and your grandmother is 80 and she's your best friend, you see and hear all sorts of things, but she was my grandmother, though she could have no children, but she was still my grandmother. So From Baby Dolls to a Cardinal with Wings, Hazel, Grandma, Ramadan, Franks. When Mom said I was too young, you introduced me to color girls who've considered suicide. The world's shortest giant, you said the rainbow is never enough. My childhood friend in a previous life, we are kindred spirits, barren but not childless, childless but not barren. You can't be defined. The neighborhood watch, you are encouragement in my dark places, forgiving but unforgetful. You couldn't be held down. Cigarettes, coffee, and cough drops. Sam Cooke, finding respite and sleeping on your couch. You introduced me to Khalil Gibran, self-educated, full of grace. First generation survival of a survivalist mentality. You freed my left hand and uncaged the hiding rider. Smoke before the fire and a cloud before the rain. You taught me to watch for the warning signs. You were my partner in crime and my enabler, a lover and speaker of the King's English. In the afterlife, you are a bright red cardinal, except still female and definitely nocturnal. The original night owl, we stayed on the phone until dawn, simultaneously and unapologetically Muslim, Catholic, and Baptist. The wife of a first-generation Greek immigrant, always prepared, plastic bags in your boots. You crossed racial barriers. You defied parental imposed curfews. You were the solution to every teenage dilemma. A social activist, my secret keeper, a poet and a writer before your time, and a friend when your time was up. This little light of mine, assalamu alaikum, thou art blessed.
Thou art blessed.
Yes. That was my grandma, Hazel Ramadan Franks.
Wow.
She was,
That's a good. But
I was gonna say she was Muslim, Catholic, and Baptist. So whenever I would get in trouble, she would tell me to make the sign of a cross, like Catholic, and then say a Muslim prayer, and then pray about it and don't do it again. So anytime I do something, I'd be doing the sign of the cross and saying Muslim prayers because she said that that would work. So she did all three. And my mother would say, Mom, you can't do that. You shouldn't tell her that. But that was my girl.
That's a good tribute to your grandmother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Minister Chris, I think we've got 2 videos left, I believe, or, oh,
Yes.
look, well, before you put it on for a second, Mr. Yawil has another poet with him. He has a guest with him.
Oh yeah, so this is the little guy I was talking about earlier, Mr. Kenyon. He's
Okay. And you said he's 8 months old?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, welcome, Mr. Kenyon. I see he's ready already. Just put the pen and paper in his hand and he'll start. He'll start. That's how they do it. Start them early.
Got to start him early.
That's it. Okay. Mr. Chris, we are ready.
The other day, I met this woman. She looked exhausted, drained, like she was on the verge of giving up on something. So I asked her what the problem was, and she said, I am tired. She expressed her lack, her want, her need for what she had lost. She felt regret for looking to herself for something she wanted from God, for looking to others for the love she desired from God. Because once upon a time, she was complete, fully equipped for every good work. She could open her eyes and there God was. He walked with her in the garden, held her hand and provided for her. He was her source for everything. She had no lack, no want, no need for reassurance. When he said no, she was patient. When he said yes, she had no doubt in her mind because his promises are true. His yes is absolute. His love was one she didn't have to work for, the greatest gift anyone could ever ask for. But one day, God's love became insufficient. She wanted more. She was happy with what she had, but surely it would make her happier to have more love, even if it meant finding it in the wrong places. We all seek happiness. As humans, we crave perfection at every opportunity we're given. So she was willing to take her chances. But little did she know that she had just taken a detour from the narrow way that leads to eternal life. Only a few find it, but if only she knew what she was sacrificing. They say an apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but right now she had fallen far, far away from the one she now seeks. She tried to live without him, become her own God, and be strong in her own strength, but one day her own strength ran dry. As a branch cannot bear fruit by itself, she could no longer find happiness by herself. She could do nothing by herself. There was no joy, no peace. All she could do was merely exist. And now she says, I am tired. I'm tired of playing these games of spiritual starvation. It's time I went back to praying for eternal salvation. I'm tired of thinking about fixing my lapses with fixes that do nothing, only worsens the situation. It's more than determination, more than saying yes. It's reflecting and acting on what God has said. And then she remembered that God has said to abide in him and he will abide in me. That I cannot bear fruit on my own unless I remain with him, the vine. He is the root of it all. So if the foundation be broken, how can I stand? How can I feel the love I once felt unless I went back to the one that loved me first? I am tired, and I'll no longer do life on my own. Today, I choose Jesus, and I'll let him be my backbone. For when I'm weak, he'll be strong for me. He will be my anchor, now and forevermore.
I like that.
Oh, yes, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Oh, stop. Oh my. Sorry.
I like that one. I like pieces. I like pieces like that are reflective, that are definitely reflective, and that are spiritual, as well. That touch home. So it was very nice. Very nice. Anyone else on that one?
I loved it. I love the spiritual aspect it had to it. Just like talking about her picking Jesus, how it came about, and just like the process she took to throughout it. Why are you? Okay.
Thank you. Mr.
Yep.
Yawil,
All
are
the
you
lesson-
going to be able to share? I'm sorry, 1 second, Dan. Are you going to be able to share with your current company?
If he allows me.
Okay,
He is
well,
very.
we'll give you a moment. No problem. Listen, I understand. Dan, what were you saying?
I said, oh, yep, this is all in the lesson of being steadfast is that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like the pace. I like that the music to me always sets the tone, but I like the pace of her speaking, and how she just kind of slowed it down and kind of put the words out there. I really like that as well.
And her message, she went the wrong way but went back.
Absolutely.
Found it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Right
you can
there.
never go wrong. You can never go wrong with that
Yeah.
message. So very nice, very nice. So we've got about 20 minutes, or if that much. I believe we have one more video. So maybe what we'll do is do a quick round robin. Will, I see that you are free, so if you would like to share another, we'd love to hear. We'd love to hear from you.
Of course. Can I have this moment, please?
If it's okay with Kenyon, right?
Yeah, everything goes through him now.
Welcome to parenthood.
Okay, so this one is Storm, and yeah. Through the night, we lay here, waiting through this storm. We've been arguing, we've been fighting, but we've been holding through. This storm will pass. One night, we argued too much. It was different. Normally, we just sit there and let the storm pass. But this time, the thunder was different. The rain was harder. The floods came faster than we expected. The storm didn't pass. This time, the storm just sat there, haunting us. The storm was different. The storm never passed.
Wow. Once
Yeah.
again, deep.
Yeah, that was a closing one too. That you sealed that one.
Yes, back to back.
It
I'm
was
done.
short, and it brought it home. It brought it home. The ending left you with
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the key is in the ending. I think that especially when it's a shorter piece, but I like all of them because you're very expressive. You're very expressive, and even as you were reading, I see that. I believe that you will do well in school. So if once we close out, if we don't get a chance to say it, let me say it now. I believe that you will go far in school. I believe that you'll do very well in public relations. You certainly are a people person and very, just very open and able to deal with different, with different things going on. And I think that you'll do well in writing. So my hope for you is that you will continue to write, and that even though you'll be busy and there'll still be basketball and as a father and all of the things that you will have going on, I hope that you will still have time to continue writing, because as you said, that was a gift, that you felt that was a gift. It certainly is a gift that you have. So I hope that you will continue to write while you're in school. Do your schoolwork first, but
Of course.
You get a few minutes, throw a poem together and just keep it in your book or however you keep it. And we certainly will always be available any Fridays that you have to come on, even if just for a moment, to say, hey, got one fresh off the press, want to share it with you, and then I got to roll. We will be here and would love to hear it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Dr. Dan Snowden, do you have another that you'd like to share?
Okay. In fact, I'll do a couple of short ones here. I'll do
Okay.
one limerick and one haiku.
Okay.
The limerick here is called Speed Date Event to Hate. I once attended an event to speed date run by a group known as Mondays at 8. But yet this affair was planned without care, thus it was a speed date event to hate. That's the limerick.
Okay.
And here's the haiku. So I gotta find it first. I gotta find my haiku. Here we are. Life, a haiku. That thing we call life is both simple and complex, connecting us all.
Yes, that thing we call life. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Connecting us all.
Yes. Did you have, those are kind of short, as you said. Did you have anything else you wanted to share?
Oh, sure. I mean, I could share another time. Here's another one about another animal group. I mean, we see a lot, but this one's called the worms. Look out, everybody! Here come the worms. Soft, limbless, eyeless, crawling, and slimy. Ubiquitous. We see them every day in environments both wet and grimy. Some worms have bodies that are segmented. They can process our soils for the better, or prey upon us by sucking our blood, or earthworms and leeches spill the letter. There are worms whose bodies are simply flat. Many are parasites, many are not. Here, the tapeworms, flukes, and planarians serve as representatives of this lot. Finally, we have worms with round bodies. They may also cause problems at times. The hookworms, roundworms, and threadworms as well infect humans and animals sometimes. Worms then are found just about everywhere in terrestrial and aquatic realms. Thus, it is virtually impossible not to have seen one of these creatures at some helms.
Very nice. Very nice. I still see, as Reverend Gadsden often says, to get you out there teaching. I learn something all the time when you share your poetry like that, and so very educational, but at the same time entertaining, and very good to me.
But for some of these animal groups, though, I mean, I know something about them, but in order to put in a verse, I have to look them up and see exactly where they fit before I put the verses in.
Okay. Well, here's an odd fact that I'm sure most would be surprised to know, that I harvest worms. I have a compost bin, and I keep worms in my compost bin because I also have I don't have, Taft owns a box turtle, and the turtle eats worms. So we harvest worms for our turtle. I am, though, afraid to touch them. So, and I used to not be when I was a kid. I would touch worms and frogs and all sorts of things. Now, no, no can do. That's a no way. Just one of those things, I guess. I have, Neil, are you sharing again?
No, I'm good.
Okay, you're good. I have one called, this one is called Whitewashed. Yeah, Will, do you have another one to share?
That's all the ones I got on my phone. I would have to transfer some over from my laptop.
Okay, so then that just means you have to come back.
Yeah. Next week I'm booked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will
Sure.
share this one, and then we have another video, and then we'll do our announcements, and I think that will take us all the way. This one is called Whitewashed. I was in kindergarten when I found out. I painted him the way I saw him. His eyes were dark and friendly. His afro did a cameo from beneath his hat. He had dimples, but he wasn't jolly because, well, Black men aren't jolly. I was proud of him as I told the others the glorious story of all he would do. They seemed frightened, shocked. Their small faces turned the color of his jacket, and the teacher was appalled. Appalled. She said that word. Yes, he's big and tall, I explained, stretching my hands to the ceiling while standing on my tippy toes. But he'll fit. Honest was all my 4-year-old mind could say. And then she said it. Santa is not Black. But she said it like Black was a bad word, It sounded like a crime or transgression, sounded like filth, sounded like she had figured out a way to suck the magic out of the wonder of a Black man. It sounded like she offended my father. I said, my daddy said, I knew I was wading in uncharted barracuda-filled waters. If a white man comes to our house in the middle of the night, I was confident in the protection he provided. I continued to dispatch with confidence and conviction. My daddy said, and that white man don't ring the doorbell. My daddy said he's going to get his shotgun. 45 years later, and little kids are still painting and coloring snowflakes and snowmen. Christmas was whitewashed to avoid the culture of our Blackness. And 45 years later, I'm still sitting in the principal's office with my daddy defending me. Her Santa is Black, like her father, like the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. Only one not Black in our house is the boogeyman. For extra measure, he added, and for show and tell, every Black doll, every doll will be Black too. Black girls have Black babies. And I love how it sounded when he said it. It sounded like overdue Black girl entitlement and privilege, sounded like perfection, like I could hide in it, and behind it I was proud. My daddy said it. I wondered why he didn't make my Black baby dolls look like the white ones. Their eyes were never quite right, their hair never combed the same, and they whitewashed playing house because they didn't understand how house is in my culture. We've been mommies to white babies that only believe in white Santas for generations. So they took the life out of our eyes and made our hair look like theirs. And 45 years later, I'm still checking the eyes on dolls and figurines, yet I continue to bask in the beauty of my Blackness. I take pride in their inability to reproduce or duplicate the soul in my eyes. I find pleasure in their curiosity of the enchantment of my hair. I watch Black Santas caring for their families, shotgun ready, always defending their position. No time for jolly here. And I hear their laughter. Sounds like thunder, sounds like an orchestra, sounds like God clapping his hands, sounds like protection, because he knows as long as Black girls have Black daddies, Black tooth fairies, and Black Santas, they can't whitewash Black love. And that is whitewash.
Well, as always.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's have Minister Chris, let's have our video. And then after our video, I believe we'll have time for some announcements and we'll wrap up.
I have plans for you. These words reverberated around the walls of my heart like they were not created to live in such a confined space, like they wanted to get out, see the world, dig their heels into the sand on the shores of my fears and just stand. wait for the tide to roll in like a tsunami, just to prove that they could survive it, and so could I. And even more than that, I could smile all the while these waves are crashing head on into everything I believe to be true about God. Is he faithful? Is he just? Is he righteous? Is he enough? Tough questions tried to dash me against these lowercase rocks of tribulation, turn me against the uppercase rock of my salvation when the storm doesn't even happen without the wind of his spirit over the waters. I can hear it, but I don't know where it's headed or where it was conceived. See, suffering? It's like the first trimester of an unwanted pregnancy, so I weigh my options. A full-term miracle or a spiritual hysterectomy, it's up to me. But eventually I grow to love the baby, not because it's easy, but because I'm in love with the Father, and he tells me what to call her. First name, Joyful. Last name, Expectancy, but we'll call her Hope for short. And when she's born, out of pain and adversity, out of tears bottled up and collected so mercifully, I'll be reminded of God's words to me. I have plans for you. These words unfold in my mind like a spiritual blueprint laid prostrate on the drafting table of my poor decisions, displaying every measurement with intricate precision, and somehow it's still intact now, despite the tattered paper and the checkered background, the hand-drawn sketch of a single story home I could never afford on my own, founded on the fractured foundation that you poured your love into like water in a wash basin so I could get clean, purified by your affection for me. And in the corner, I see the stone that you laid when I had already rejected it. My faith was embalmed, but you already resurrected it to give me a hope and a life and a future with him, to heal and restore all my sutures within, a plastic surgery without the plasticity of sin, a nip and a tuck for the skin of my soul. And behold, I hear your voice again. It echoes, I have plans for you, not to harm you, or to shame you, or to send you to an early grave. I have plans for you. I will pull you like a camel through the eye of the needle that has sown seeds of discontent into your garment of praise. You have a hope that sustains you, like the pedal point in Johann Bach's Prelude in B-flat minor, a hope that sustains you, like Bill Withers singing, "A Lovely Day," with a 6-part choir, a hope that sustains you, like the game is down to the wire and everybody still has their timeouts. It's gonna be a while, but you have everything you need in hope. It's the bag you pack when you're still broke and you haven't bought your ticket yet, and the prices keep on rising, but you know that your holiday is on the horizon because he has plans for you. Let those words give you breath like an iron lung when you can't breathe on your own. He has plans for you. Let those words give you strength like a 10-carat diamond when you're not shining on your own. Let those words see you through the deepest valley and the darkest cavern when you can't see on your own. He has plans for you. A few things he's prepared in advance for you, like hot meals after church on Sunday afternoons when mama made that cornbread and everybody came through. He has plans for you.
Wow, that is another good one. Minister Chris always pulls them out. I love that she keeps saying he has plans for you, and where she said first name Joyful, last name Expectancy, but we'll just call it Hope for short. And she's talking about Jeremiah chapter 29. Jeremiah 29, 11 says, for thus saith the Lord, for I know the thoughts I think towards you, the thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. And it's something that people kind of quote quite often, but very nice. Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. This has been and is the Writer's WordShop. Minister Chris, I sent you a couple of flyers. Let's start with the play that's going on right now. Maria James Chow is doing a hair story, and that's where Reverend Gadsden is tonight. Hair story, reclaiming our own. She is one of the Writer's WordShop's poets, and I believe The play is starting tonight, going through this weekend. I think it's also Monday. You can look it up. It's at the Gamut Theater, and I think I have a better, let's see if I have a better, some more information on it. It is presented in collaboration with the Harrisburg PA chapter of the Links Incorporated and Reclaim Artists Collective, an original theatrical production by Maria James Chow. And let's see if we can get this one. And this is probably the one that I should have sent Minister Chris. It's at the Gamut Theater, 15 North 4th Street. If you go to Maria James Chow, spelled Thiaw, and it's May 4th, 5th, and 6th, 7:30 p.m. and Sunday, May 7th at 2:30 p.m. Ro Brady has also been working with her and helping to put it on. And Maria is an excellent poet and now playwright. And it says, will Aaliyah accept the ancestors' guidance to find her way out of trauma and into truth? It's Hair Story, Reclaiming Our Crown. And I believe it is going to be an excellent performance. Reverend Gadsden is there tonight. Maria, I will see you all on Sunday. I am looking forward to it. And to all our listeners, please make sure that you go out and check it out. Tickets are very, very reasonable. There are still some seats available, but it is almost sold out. So let's make sure we celebrate one of Harrisburg's on, and it's one of Harrisburg's own. Also coming up next weekend, another one that you don't want to miss, the Writers' WordShop will have our pre-Mother's Day celebration presented by Nathaniel Gadsden's Writers' WordShop and Life Esteem Incorporated. It is free to the public. Let me say that again for the people in the balcony that didn't hear. It is free to the public, free meaning no cost to you to get in. May 13th, 2023 from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. PA Council of Churches, 900 South Arlington Avenue, Harrisburg, PA. Free activities, paint and sip, bingo, karaoke, poetry readings, giveaways, trivia, music and entertainment, vendors, marketplace, free food and drinks. So please make sure that you come by and join the Writers' WordShop next week on May 13th from 2 p.m. To 6 p.m. I want to say thank you to Yawil for joining us. What an amazing young man who has got such a bright future ahead of him, an excellent writer. We had Neil Owens, who's left off, but thank you, Neil, for coming on. Dr. Dan Snowden, thank you for joining us, and for all of you who joined, Angela Renee that came on. We didn't get to hear from True, but we will hope to see you all next week. And so I also want to thank Reverend Dr. Nathaniel Denzel Washington Gadsden for the opportunity to sit in this place and to host. It is always a pleasure to participate and to be a host. And I appreciate the opportunity to spread my wings and to be able to do this. And a special thank you to the Voice 17104 and the Voice TV, Minister Chris Thomas, who always does it just right for us, always comes up with the best videos and makes this happen. So thank you, Minister Chris Thomas. If you have an idea for a show, Christopher Thomas is the person that you want to contact, and you too. So yeah, well, once you get to Elizabethtown, you and your friends get together, you could do public relations / poetry / basketball show podcast, just right straight off the top. So thank you all for joining us. And as Reverend Gadsden always says, we don't want to go over our time. So we appreciate Minister Chris for all he does and want to be mindful that he's taking time away from his family to spend this Friday evening with us. So thank you all for joining. The weather's changing. Be safe. Get out there. Have a good time. And McGraw, look at McGraw when stamps were just 20 cents. Can you believe that? McGruff, sorry, it was McGruff. McGruff, the crime dog, take a bite out of crime. Man, those were the good old days, McGruff. Can't beat that. We'll see you all next week. Same time, same place for the Writers' WordShop. Thank you to all of you, and you've got something on your mind, write it down and come back next week and share it with us. Thanks again.